According to TikTok, this activity and resulting experience, referring to your study, does not reflect genuine behavior or viewing experiences of real people.
That is absolutely false.
We found a network of videos linked together by hashtags which referenced eating disorders that had 13.2 billion views on TikTok. Now, that's not a one-off. That's not a million off. That's 13.2 billion times their system has either, if you believe them, accidentally shown someone an eating disorder or self-harm video, or it is deadly, as we say in the name of our report, by design.
I think we're missing a key point, and you mentioned this earlier, that sure, this can exacerbate an already existing condition, but to say that it caused, I think, is a huge jump, because, I mean, I've been treating eating disorders for tens of, like, I don't even know, 15, 20 years, and we know that it's most likely tied to trauma. And we think of trauma, we always think of like, oh, it's a big deal. There's this huge thing that happened, you know, you were in an accident, or we think of going to war. But traumas can be things like going through divorce, moving a lot as a kid, being bullied. And if bullying's happening online, we can tie that together, I think, more closely. But to say that that is the cause of this is, to me, is a very large jump that I think is a little bit of an overreach. Yes, they're culpable and they need to be more responsible. But I know as a clinician that what I see in my office isn't just that. There's always more to it.
It's a bit like hearing a meth dealer say that you can lose your teeth a lot of different ways. It's not just the meth I sold you. Sorry, it's just implausible to me that when you are, and as the coroner found in Ian Russell's, in Molly's case, it's the sheer prevalence, it's the overwhelming wave of content normalizing the idea that suicide is an acceptable way out, it's a normal way out.
I'm not disagreeing
and
with
that's
that.
what is so horrifying, is to try and minimize that, to try and minimize the role of the platforms. And I completely accept that
there is,
it's so multifactorial, the etiology of something like an eating disorder. I get that. But this plays a significant part. And to parents out there who've seen their kids addicted to that content, like Ian, like Cece and others, but not just that, also there's been this sharp rise in how many young people have eating disorders, have other types of mental health complaints. Around 2012 is when we saw this sharp rise in the statistics, the year after Instagram launched. And I'm telling you that TikTok, which is the newest platform, is significantly worse. It's less transparent, it's more addictive, it's more dangerous. And unless we start to get to grips with it, this algorithmic arms race right now on addictiveness is going to start claiming more and more young people's lives. We can't be complacent.
No, I'm not saying be complacent, but I'm saying we can't downplay the importance of a conversation with our children.
Absolutely.
And having real discussions without judgment, because
there has to be parental involvement and responsibility here, if for no other reason than because of what you're saying. And the awareness of parents knowing that there's a toxic ecosystem out there and warning kids about that. And, you know, another criticism of your study is the end. They said, you know, you've got eight accounts here. They said, how can you draw these conclusions from such a small sample? But I thought it was a very ingenious design with what you did. It's kind of a double-blind study, essentially, with the two different names and seeing what happens.
Well, we copied the design, ironically, from internal leaked documents at Meta, which had done exactly the same study. They set up an account as a 13-year-old girl. They studied what happened on Instagram if they set up an account, and they found that very rapidly eating disorder content was being shoveled out to young people. Now, of course, Meta never released that study. That was leaked by a whistleblower, a very brave whistleblower by the name of Francis Haugen, about 18 months ago.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.